Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, we're talking about 5 most relevant extracurricular activities that you can do outside of school by yourself when applying to undergraduate degrees. So if you're applying to university soon, or you're just thinking about it, keep watching because this video is going to be very useful indeed. Alright guys, so back in the studio with me, we've got my colleague Jamie.
Hi.
Hey Jamie, good to see you again. So Jamie, let's jump straight into it. So obviously, there is stuff that many schools offer, like maybe a charity run, a bake sale. Many schools have school libraries. You can do maybe an Olympiad, maybe an essay competition. You can be a school prefect, that that type of thing. But my understanding is that for the very selective universities, a lot of these things are not enough. Did I get this right?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that. So, selective universities, they want to see students that stand out and look like they've gone the extra mile. And I think that one of the biggest things that schools fail to do is kind of say, or tell students is going to, an after-school club once or twice a week, that's not going to cut it. You need to really stand out from the pack. So, yeah, I would say that most things that you can do within school are fine. But like, if you want to get into a top university, there are things you need to do that go far above and beyond that will differentiate you from other people applying.
Yeah, and even at the good schools, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the top expensive private schools in the US, Canada, UK. They really fall short in terms of the provision that they.
Yeah. They'll send kids to amazing ski trips or amazing trips around the world, and then you can't find a way to talk about it if you're doing like a physics degree, or you're applying for that. So you have to be a lot more. You have to be very careful with the advice you listen to, and
Jamie, a lot of parents of A&J students. They would say, "Oh, why don't we send our son or daughter to Oxford Summer School, Stanford Summer School? That's going to look great in the CV, and they're going to be accepted into Oxford immediately." Has that been the case in your experience?
No. So this is one of the biggest myths I think that is still quite pervasive when it comes to applying to universities. I think a lot of parents think, oh, if the more prestigious the summer school the student gets into, the better it looks. But it's actually the opposite. The reason why is the vast majority of these summer schools are paid ones, and because they're paid and the fees are quite expensive, they can range anywhere from £1,000 to 5, 6, 7,000. It's a signal to the university that you're a family that has enough money to spend thousands to send your kid to a summer school, rather than actually showing any ability for the student to be good at the subject they're applying
take
to.
Initiative and
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like it feels a bit like when parents just send their kids off to everything all over the shop. And they look a bit like a trust fund baby instead of the student, themselves seeking out opportunities.
Yeah. No, and the guy I always say to our students is the most useful stuff, the most impressive things are the ones you can do for free on your own. They just take time and discipline, but they're actually a lot more effective.
Yeah.
We've got some parents who are like, well, I can get my daughter internship at Goldman Sachs and Google and the White House. And I'm like, that's great. But university is going to call, basically, really be very skeptical about how the applicant got those opportunities.
Yeah, especially since universities are getting very comfortable with contextual offers and understanding where people come from and what they have advantages and disadvantages in. So if you get an internship at the White House, that's not going to be worth as much as someone who doesn't have the money or the network to get something like that. But just for hours a week, just works on like a blog or something like that to, show how much they care about the subject.
Cool. Well, Jamie, just as we're rounding up this video, we promised the viewers 5 good ideas for ECAs that, don't cost much and, they can do themselves outside of what's offered at school. So, can you, maybe between us, we could name these 5?
Sure. So, essay competitions, I think they're a great idea. They're normally completely free to enter, and the only cost is really the time and energy you put into them.
And you just Google them, right?
Yes, you can just Google them. They'll happen all year round, all across the globe. So you'll definitely find something, if you look hard enough.
And when you say Googling, it means going beyond just page 1 of Google. So going to page 2 and 3 and 4.
Yes.
Because a lot of them are websites that are not very well designed and don't rank very highly in
Yeah,
Google, so you kind of
yeah.
have to.
You have to put some time and energy into it, but there will definitely be something. Look into, let's say you're a geography student, look into the Royal Geographer, Society.
Yeah.
You'll find things
Cool.
for sure.
All right, so essay competitions and Olympiads, I guess.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So the second one I would say is summer schools that are unpaid. So there's few and far between, and I think this would probably apply more to students who are underprivileged or don't necessarily have a lot of money. But a lot of universities do run outreach summer schools for people who come from backgrounds who don't normally go. So, for example, there's one called Unique, and it's an Oxford-run summer school, but to get in you have to write some very strong essays, get some references from teachers about your A levels, and you need to come from a background which typically wouldn't get into Oxford, and those places are still quite competitive. If you want to get into, I don't know, PP, I think a few years ago it was 1 in 10 applicants got in.
Basically harder to get into the summer school.
Yeah,
right?
than the actual place.
Yeah,
yeah. So if you kind of do that, it looks very impressive. So look into unpaid summer schools.
Unpaid summer schools, okay.
The third one I would say is kind of a broad category, but just creating content. So instead of kind of consuming, reading books, watching lectures, instead go out of your way to actually create not necessarily new ideas, but kind of transform them into something you can call your own.
And is that like a blog or a social media account? Or?
Both of those, to be honest. It depends on the strength of the student. So some people feel, very natural in video, and as silly as it might sound, they could make a TikTok page just dedicated to tracking, I don't know, what's going on with Brexit, for instance, if they were doing politics. And, you might go, oh, it's just TikTok. But if you're spending hours writing the scripts and you're reading and researching, I mean, it's no different. And it's a lot better than the people who, just read the newspaper instead of creating the news themselves almost.
Okay, interesting. And maybe a fourth one that I can suggest from me is what we do with A&J students all the time is getting the student to either join an existing society or create a new society on the basis of offshoot it of a blog, and then cold email a couple hundred academics,
yes,
and invite them to a hybrid Zoom, also a Google Meet conference, and because it's online, people are generally happy to come.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
you email enough people.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. It's another example of creating rather than just consuming. Yeah, and that's really good. And I guess the final one I'd probably recommend would be, attending lectures is good. It's a good place to kind of make contacts. But more critically, it's what you then do once you've seen those lectures. How can you talk about them, which I guess links back to what you were just saying about blog posts.
Yeah, or maybe, attending not just the lectures, but also, there are online courses that are free. On websites like EDX and Coursera.
Yes.
But edx.org is a really good one, and you have courses by Harvard, MIT, Stanford, a ton of US, some Chinese, some European universities.
They give you certificates as well.
Yeah, I think if you pay like $50, but you can also do the free version without the certificate. And that's something that looks great.
Yeah,
on
sure.
On any, and in a personal statement, when you're writing your essay, you can say, well, at school we've done X. This made me really interested about the subject, so I watched this podcast or I read this book, which led me to this course by Stanford University online. That's a story, and this wow, okay, this student really pursue their curiosity.
For sure. Yeah, online courses are definitely slept on, and you're right. I would transform what I said from lectures to online courses because it's a series of lectures, and a lot of the time you're asked to do work. So once again, it's you creating and learning at the same time, which always looks good.
Cool. Well, guys, hope you were making notes about these 5 free extracurricular activities that are really impressive that you can do yourself outside of what's offered at school. They will definitely massively strengthen your CV and applications, whether for undergraduate or for masters later on, or even job applications, because you can sort of apply the same principles to that as well. So please join me in thanking Jamie for thanks Jamie for all your tips, guys. All the best to you in this. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel, because we spend a ton of time and effort making these videos really useful for you. There is a team, obviously, that you see here. There is a whole team, much bigger team behind the camera, that's making these videos possible and accessible to you. So please support us in our work. But for now, all the best to you. Good luck, and take care.